Alright, this video is going to demonstrate how to do some 3D surface machining using AlphaCam. The gentleman wants to do a drawer front that looks like the drawer front on these cabinets right here. And as you can see, they've got some raised elevations and a valley that runs between these two triangles, and wants to cut them in 3D. Move that out of the way. First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a rectangle in 2D, and that rectangle is going to be, and I'm guessing at this, so I'm just going to put 14 inches wide and maybe 4 inches tall, and we'll go with that. Then we'll zoom into that whole thing, and we're going to draw the high ridges that you see. These are like hips on a house. We're going to draw those lines first right on this 2D. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and draw these lines. I'm going to draw one line from the corner here to here, and we're going to pick a spot that kind of looks where that hip is starting. I'm going to draw a line from this point to here. I'm going to repeat that here to here. Draw that same line from here to there. Anyway, there we have that particular part. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to move it over here. I think we'll rotate it. .90 degrees. We'll move that here back to here, and then everything should be well. Anyway, now we're going to give this thing what we call panel edges, specify panel, and this is where we're going to start moving this into 3D. We're going to put the material top at 2 because that's how tall that thickness of this whole part is, and the bottom at 0. Now we see that we've got panel edges. One of the things we want to do over here is I just want to get something that indicates 3/4 of an inch, because I think that's how thick this part is going to be at the very edge, and I'll show you where that ties in later. We're just going to get that and just have a mark for it for that 3/4 of an inch. And now we're going to put this thing in 3D, and we're going to come down here, we're going to unfold those edges, and we're going to close them all in. Now when you're working in this 3D and I have 2D geometry, I want to move these lines up to the top of this box that represents the workpiece. I need to highlight the front plane. That is to say, anything that you want to move in a horizontal plane up vertically, you're going to have to highlight the vertical plane. So if you want to move geometry that's in the horizontal plane vertically, you must highlight that vertical plane. Now I'm going to move all these lines. This one I don't really care about. I'm going to move them from the bottom here up to the top of my part. And while I'm at it, I'm going to get rid of that line there because I don't really need that line. Now, while we're here, we need to create a plane at this 3/4 inch line that shows this edge. Again, I want to highlight my vertical plane, and I want to go ahead and copy. It might say that there was 2 of them selected. It does that sometimes. Now I have this new plane, this new geometry that runs around here. And if I look at this over in the named views, I'm now going to see that a plane was created that's number 6. And if I click that on, we can now see that there is a plane for that right there. Well, now that we have all that, we're going to start doing some drawing here with some polylines. So we're going to grab the polyline and we're going to draw that from here down to this point, and we're going to repeat that, and we're going to have to draw that polyline again from here down to here. Now we're going to kind of got to do the same thing on this side as well. It's a little confusing, but I think we need one more line from polyline from here. Okay. We're going to bring that whole plane into the top view, make sure that that looks right. And now we can see that we have those polylines drawn like that. I'm going to rotate that thing back up. It is still a little bit confusing to see. I'm going to go ahead and delete the geometry on the top, because at this point it's really not serving any purpose, and I think it's actually skewing our picture a little bit anyway. I know I kind of got rid of that. That might make things a little bit clearer. Alright, now we're going to have to start to create some surfaces from these polylines. So we're going to grab the surface command. It's right here. We're going to use a ruled surface, two curves. And I'm going to pick that line, that line. I know they're not curves, and evidently AlphaCam doesn't like seeing this, warning us that the edges are in different directions, but I don't want them to adjust anything, so I'm going to put this as maybe 25 steps along that line, and then I've created that. I'm going to move this thing to a top view so we can see the whole thing, and I'm going to start filling in all of these planes. I'm going to go ahead and do that and pause for a second, come back after those planes are all filled in. Okay, I'm back with you, and now you can see that you've filled in all these surfaces. If you're doing this drawing also, your drawing should look something like mine. I'm going to rotate that around. We kind of see what that looks like. Now we're going to apply some toolpath to this. And this is kind of hard to see. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on these ghost tools so we can see that it sees all these surfaces from the top. You'll also notice these lines right here. That's the tool direction of the polyline. We drew them that way, so AlphaCam remembers that and puts that toolpath direction along the same way that we actually drew the lines. Now, make this a little easier, we're going to change the view to advanced shading. We can see this thing a lot better, and we want to go over here to our named views, and we want to come down and highlight number 6, and you can see we've got that named view. Now we're going to select a tool. I'm going to select a 1/2 inch ball mill. Now we got this nice, pretty, kind of filled in solid ball mill. It's not shown with the tool holder, but that's not necessary. And we select that. We go to Machine, 3D Surfacing. Machine Surfaces. Toolpath will be located in the active work plane. Yes. That's just telling you that it's going to be vertical to that plane. The tool's going to come down vertically to that plane. Now, here's where it's confusing, because the first reaction that you want to do is kind of highlight one of these boxes, because that's where you want surfacing to be done. It's asking for surface machining select boundaries. Well, we're going to select this face, because what we're doing again is it's like you can't tell how high an airplane is in the air unless you're sitting there looking at it from the side. And that's kind of the way AlphaCam wants to see these surfaces. So that's the boundary box that it is looking for. It must be doing a lot of its calculations based on that perspective. So we finish that. And now we're going to give our toolpath number, the safe rapid level of 3, and thickness above surface wrap down 2. Width of cut, you can change this if you want it smaller. Facet tolerance, chord tolerance, cut direction. This is going to go back and forth because it's clicked as bidirectional. And cut between Z levels, you know, I would just leave that as it is. And now I'm going to come across here and I'm going to select these different planes. Now it's asking for a start point. I'm just going to hit the top right here. There we go. Now we've got toolpath on this thing. We're going to look at that in a solid simulation. And we'll probably check the speed up a little bit here. Let's see what we got. Looks like our part. No doubt that you can put those a little closer together, use a small ball mill, and that'll come out and not quite be so choppy there. So that completes this little demo. I hope it gives you some answers how to do 3D surface machining in AlphaCam. My name is Gary Dunn, and I'm signing off.